James Gunn just casually announced Superman 2, like it was nothing. I'm just minding my business at my day job when all of a sudden I see that Gunn casually tweets out, Man of Tomorrow is set to release on July 9th, 2027. Not only that, but it is accompanied by this art of Superman and Lex in the Warsuit. This is so much to take in and process at one time. I was already losing my mind after Marvel Rivals finally announced Daredevil for the game, and then James Gunn had to drop this bombshell on the timeline which hit me like a nuke. This is the best day ever. We are thriving right now. I'm so excited about this that I'm about to yap for 9 minutes about a single drawing and title announcement. By the way, I absolutely adore the title Man of Tomorrow. I think that is by far the best Superman nickname and really just encapsulates the hopeful and optimistic vibe of a character like Superman. Someone who acts as this champion of the oppressed and exists to make the world a better place, fighting for truth, justice, and a better tomorrow. It's so simple, but it's so effective. And honestly, one of my biggest pet peeves of the superhero genre is how lazy the film naming conventions could be. It's not my favorite thing when a movie is titled something as simple as Character 2 or Character, this is the subtitle. I feel like it's just more creative and interesting to name a movie Man of Tomorrow. So I'm glad that they're not even putting the Superman branding on there because it's a Superman movie. It sells itself. Especially with a movie that has such a heavy focus on Superman and Lex, I think Man of Tomorrow is the best possible title they can use because Lex sees himself as the Man of Tomorrow while Clark actually embodies those traits. The fact that we are set to get our first Superman sequel since 1980 is the best news ever. I'm pretty sure we all knew that a Superman sequel was inevitable after how well received that movie was, but I was not expecting to get it so soon in the slightest. We got Superman this year, we're getting Supergirl next year, and then the year after that we're getting another Superman movie is incredible. I used to pray for times like this. After nearly a decade of suffering through minimal Superman appearances on the big screen, it is so rewarding to finally live in this era of Superman where you can't go 2 minutes without seeing him, and that is exactly how it should be for such an important character to not just DC, but the entire superhero genre as a whole. We have never been more back than this. I love that James Gunn is going out of his way to make Superman the primary figure of the DCU and making sure we don't have to wait long to see him again. I do think it's funny though that just last week I dropped this video pitching what I wanted to see in Superman 2, and now Gunn decides to drop the fact that it's going to be a Superman versus Lex movie and finally going to don the Warsuit in a live action movie. I have to imagine he personally did that just to undermine me, but also that is perfectly fine by me because just getting the confirmation that we're having a Superman sequel with Lex Luthor as the villain again is incredible. I don't think I'm gonna be able to process it until we've actually hit 2027, which still doesn't even sound like a real year, but the fact that we're going to get a Batman and a Superman movie in the same year is mind-blowing. And not only that, they are sequels to two of the best DC movies of all time. We are finally eating so good. After years of being a DC fan suffering through a universe that was held together by duct tape, hopes, and dreams, we finally have a cohesive vision for DC and the Elseworlds properties as we are seeing this big push from the studio, and it makes me beyond happy if you can't tell from my incessant yapping and glazing. Just 84 days between those movies too. Less than 3 months apart, we're going to be seeing Superman and Batman on the big screen. I don't know what we did to deserve this kind of a blessing, but my god, we are winning. Hell, they got that Wonder Woman movie in development now. Imagine if that's on track to release in 2027 as well, and we have an entire year of the DCU Trinity in action. Even if Batman stays in his own universe, which I am perfectly fine with, what a monumental achievement that would be. I honestly hope it happens because there is no stronger way to come out swinging for the DCU than to set up the universe in a Superman film, build it out a little more over the following year, and then come in with the grand slam of Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman in a calendar year. Something that has never happened before and will probably never happen again, but would establish them as the trinity of this universe going forward, and hopefully finally put a character like Wonder Woman on the map again. But here's the thing, the fact that Lex and Superman are standing side by side together in the first official image we see really makes me think that they're going to be working together in this film. And get ready for the reach of all reaches, but Clark holding a screwdriver in his hand even makes me think that he might have helped Lex build that Warsuit, which I feel like can only mean one thing, thing, and that's that Brainiac is the actual villain of this film, and we're gonna have to see Clark and Lex put aside their differences to save the Earth. That's not only a peak Clark and Lex dynamic, and I think the best possible direction to take those two characters after this movie, but the idea of them working together to stop Brainiac is so exciting, and something that I'm hoping very hard is true. Even if it isn't though, and Lex really is the villain, as this other art that Nicholas Hoult posted may suggest, that's also great news because it means right off the bat, we're gonna be getting reoccurring villains in the DCU. It's not just one and done and having to wait years to see these characters again. No. We are doing a proper Superman and Lex rivalry, where now somehow Lex is about to get out of prison and get his hands dirty by building the power suit to try and stop Superman himself. And if I really want to keep going down the crackpot theory rabbit hole, the fact that they are fighting in one image, but working together in two, makes me wonder if this is some 4D chess move to signify the fact that they're going to fight in Act 1, and then work together in Act 2 and 3. You know what, now that I've said that out loud, that sounds really stupid, but I do think it's pretty much inevitable that we'll get the classic punch for a bit and then they're mates, as we see their endless rivalry interrupted by the arrival of someone like Brainiac. Because I'm going to push this agenda until I die. I will accept Brainiac or Mr. Mixik-Pitalik. There are no in-betweens. Not to go completely off the rails speculating, but would it really be a whole shebang video if I didn't do that? I honestly think that we're going to see Lex get out of prison in Peacemaker as he makes a deal with a very desperate Rick Flag Sr. to give him the information he needs on Peacemaker's quantum unfolding storage chamber, and then from there that will set up Lex's return in Superman 2. Okay, that's my random tangent over. Let me get back to talking about 3 pictures. I think it's really cool that James Gunn is going out of his way to commission art from actual comic book artists. One of the things that makes him such a great comic book movie director is that he has a genuine, undying passion for the comic book medium, and that is reflected in not only the films he makes as we see these elements brought to life in the most dazzling ways possible, but in the way he makes sure that these artists feel represented and seen, and that he uses the films to promote the comics. This medium would be nothing without the comic books that came before, and it makes me so happy to see him putting those creators first and making sure that they not only have a say in these movies, but keeping them involved in the creative process, except for Tom King. He can stop that partnership immediately. I have to imagine that Supergirl is going to be in this movie as well, right? The entire time that James Gunn has been teasing this film, he has always been mentioning it as a pseudo-Superman sequel. That is so hard to say, but I would be shocked if we didn't see her in the film. Right now, this being promoted as a Superman and Lex movie feels a little too straightforward based on what Gunn has been teasing in the past, so I feel like he's still got a few tricks up his sleeve, and I am praying that one of those includes Supergirl and Superman working together in this film. And if it just so happens to be a Brainiac movie like I think it might be, maybe we see them explore that Kryptonian history a little bit more. Man, if only there was another video where somebody had a pitch talking about how that could work in a follow-up to Superman and Supergirl. Okay, I'm sorry, that's the last time I'll plug that video, but please go watch it. I'm very proud of it. It also looks like the Justice Gang, which will hopefully be the Justice League at that point, is set to return in the sequel as well. Isabella Merced posted this on her Instagram story, implying that she's going to return in the film, and even Aaron Pierre, who's going to play Jon Stewart, commented on the post his excitement for the movie, which makes me wonder if this is going to be another huge DC movie that includes Superman and Justice Gang characters. I feel like that would make a lot of sense, especially if they're going to be doing a Brainiac story like I'm theorizing. You'd want to have all hands on board for that, but I also really didn't expect them to play a role in this sequel. I figured that it was just a way to introduce them, and then from there they would go have their own movie. So I'm very interested and thrilled to see that they're returning, especially Isabella Merced. I think it is always a good thing when we can see her on screen. Thinking it over, I feel like this movie might be the one where we get a proper Justice League formed. Between now and then, there aren't any other times I could see the Justice Gang appearing, and I doubt that they're going to form the Justice League in Peacemaker. So to me, that just screams the fact that we're going to see a formally established Justice League at the end of this film, and I am all here for that. As exciting as this news is, I don't know how I'm supposed to just go about my day after this. I just want to talk about Superman and think about Superman for the rest of the day. I can't go back to doing work. This is the craziest thing Gunn has ever done. And while the fact that we only have to wait 2 years to see Superman again is amazing, I want it now. I am already so seated for this movie. The theater employees are screaming at me and telling me that it's not July 9th yet, but I don't care. I'm simply too seated. But why don't you tell me what you most want to see in Man of Tomorrow? I would genuinely love to hear what everyone has to say and continue the conversation down below. And while you're at it, make sure to give this video a like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. If you don't do it, I'm gonna get in my Warsuit and I'm gonna blast you all the way to Kingdom Come. So you better subscribe or you're getting blasted.